One. What's up, guys? It is Matt and Colby. Take my bit. Okay.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to the Chasing the Dream podcast. Trying to think what number this is. Probably number 7 of season 3, episode 7 of season 3. So it's gonna be a good episode. So today we have Damien here with us for our special guest. How you doing, Damien?
What up, guys? I'm excited. Let's do this.
So I just want to point out that if I am not looking at the camera, I'm looking this way because I have a monitor over here. So I'm gonna try to look at Damien while he's talking. It's gonna be weird, but we're gonna try to win with it. So
Yeah, you got it.
so Damien, talk about yourself, man. Like, what do you do? Like, tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Damien Raye. I'm a 27-year-old hip hop artist from South Portland, Maine. Anybody that's listening to this, honestly, you may have actually already known me like years ago. I used to go by D-Ray. I was the kid that put like videos on Facebook and everything. And when I did that, everything went like pretty far. I built like a really huge fan base. Like I was really like living the dream for a while. And then life kind of happened and I like, had to start over. I like lost my momentum and all that. But now, it's like I really worked on like myself and, mental health and all that. And now it's like I'm back and I'm here to stay. And, just like nothing ever changed. Like I've always been ambitious. I've always been that very driven kid that is just like trying to make the world a better place. Like I knew I wanted to do music since I was just a little kid. And I found my voice in hip hop specifically when I was like 8 years old. I snuck behind my parents' backs to watch 8 Mile with my friend Robbie. We just started writing raps and stuff. Shout out Robbie. But yeah, so I'm all about music. I'm all about helping people, mental health awareness. I'm a very spiritual guy, so I speak about, the universe and manifesting and like I've seen it all with my journey, so that's a big part of who I am and what I do is like I'm a speaker, I'm a musician, I'm just an all-around good human being and I'm here to make the world a better place and it's simple as that.
Yeah, that's what we need in this world. People who are actually kind to others, and it's what we need now this time and year. And yeah, so let's.
Especially in hip hop, like the ego shit and everything, it's like it's overrated. Like we need a balance, like it's good to like feel yourself and everything, but a lot of hip hop can be just, like blaming like other people and just like talking shit all the time. And it's like, let's let's share that love, like spread light, like, speak abundance, like room for everybody,
Yeah,
like I do things differently, especially when it comes to hip hop. So I'm glad that, like people appreciate that. Feel like we need more light in this world. That's part of why I'm here.
yeah, which is like I said, what we need for sure, big time. Um,
Definitely, man. Thank you.
so let's talk about your music career. What made you start getting into the music industry?
Yeah, so it's kind of like even more just really reiterating on what I had just said. It's like since I was a kid, like literally when I was a baby, I was like headbanging to heavy metal music and stuff. And like I was just always very in tune to music. And then when I was 2 years old, I told my parents that I want to be a singer when I'm older. And I just kind of always knew that this was my calling in life. Like I said, with hip hop, I didn't know exactly that that's where I was called to, but I always knew it was music. And so I tried a bunch of different things in life, and it always full circled right back to this. And then what made me start getting like into the industry and actually taking things seriously was like I started writing raps with my friend when I was 8 years old. And then once we got to middle school, I think I was like 12 or 13 or something. That's when I started to take music seriously. And at that time, I wasn't like fully ready yet necessarily for the public, but I just had a dream and was ready to go for it. So my name at that time was Young D-Man. I was just like the 12-year-old kid, just trying to do what I wanted to do. And, I put like a lot of work in, like the thousands upon thousands of hours. Like I would obsessively research, like, the music industry and marketing and like, making connections and just like how to record myself and how to get like good videos together, just like how to interact, like create a good fan base, just like everything that I could possibly do, like I did it on my own. And a lot of the work that I did was just right at home, like writing my songs, watching videos, taking notes. I bought the book How to Rap by
Hmm.
Cool G Rap, and I got like this like rhyme book. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I was just like so into all of this. And even though Young D-Man wasn't like there yet, the potential was there and I knew that. So rather than stopping, even when I wasn't fully ready yet, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go for it, So I worked on everything, just kept grinding, and then, from there, everything just kind of like started taking form, like with Young Demon, it wasn't really like the greatest days because at that point in time, like I said, I wasn't fully ready yet. It was kind of like immature regarding my sound and stuff. The essence was there, but the execution wasn't just yet. So, like, I got bullied a lot and everything, and it affected me like quite a bit. Like got PTSD and everything. It had like started to affect me more and more each year, but I was just really into what I was doing and I was just dedicated to keep on doing it. And no matter what obstacles I faced with myself or anything outside of me, I just knew this is my calling and I was going to make it happen by any means necessary. So, yeah, I just always knew it was meant for me. It's what I love the most, put a lot of work in. And from then, I just kept going and never stopped.
Did you like end up like self teaching yourself how to do all that stuff, like the rapping, the writing, the making the beat? Like, did you end up like just self teaching yourself how to do it?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. Cause it's like you can emulate your favorite artists and everything, like everyone does, and I did the same by like, I would do cover songs and I would challenge myself to like, say as an example, do Lose Yourself by Eminem, like without anything in the background, like I performed the song myself. That helped me get like really into the rhythm of everything and just like how words break down like syllable wise and all that, and also counting bars, like the musical term, like especially with hip hop we always use bars, but it's literally like when you count 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, like it's counting bars of the music. And so yeah, I taught myself how to do all of that, and then that helped me as an artist because then I was able to really like break down my rhyme structures and everything and have them placed all on like different parts of the bar or in the same spot, just like more of the technical aspects of everything. Yeah, I taught myself everything that I possibly could. And that's really where everything came from, is just this, you know, crazy like desire to do this and to do it well.
So now that kind of just led into a question. Did you have like a inspiration, like a person that you looked up to a lot during your like music career and your journey?
Absolutely. So there's quite a few people, but I'll just start off like where that already was, like with 8 Mile and everything. Man, like Eminem has always been one of my biggest inspirations in my life. And for me, the reason why I always resonated with him so much is because he's just a very real person. And, like, before I continue, like, are we good to swear on the podcast?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Is that cool?
oh yeah,
Okay. I just want to be respectful.
oh yeah. No, I
But
appreciate it.
yeah, so anyway, it's like with Eminem. Yeah, yeah, of course. So with Eminem, like he really just didn't give a fuck. Like he
Yeah.
went through a lot of the bullying, he went through a lot of challenges in his life, and in a world that feels like most people are trying to be someone else or haven't found themselves or anything like that yet. Where I resonated most with Eminem was that from day one, he's just always been himself. And he speaks, of course, like about his life and everything like that. And so he spoke to me early on because there was a point in time where, ironically, I didn't really think that I liked rap. But now that I look back on it, it's not necessarily that as much as I just didn't understand it yet. So, like, this is around like when I was 8 years old, like before I started getting into it. At the time, I had thought that most of the rap is just like kind of trashy, just like no like real meaning or anything like that. And then I heard Mockingbird on a Now That's What I Call Music CD again with my friend Robbie. Shout out to Robbie. When I lived in Standish, we heard that, and that like awoke something in me, I guess. And then a few days later, I also heard Lose Yourself. And then from that moment on, that's when I was just like hooked.
Mm.
So I definitely give that credit to Eminem for sure, because he was the first one that like really made it make sense and like, oh shit, like hip hop is like what's speaking to me the most, just
Yeah.
all the passion and just like being able to tell my story exactly how I want to tell it. And I've also been like always just very gifted with words. Like even back in elementary school, like the teachers made a special thing where they would like call on me like whenever they needed a word to be spelled, and like they do it in front of the whole class, and I'd spell like these giant words and just like honestly get it right every time. And yeah, just like words, the stories told in hip hop, it all just spoke to me. And then when I found Eminem, that's when it all just kind of clicked.
So what made you pick the hip hop genre?
That's a great question too. So yeah, again, just really to like go even deeper on what I was just saying. Hip hop specifically, I feel like I've always had the voice for it. It's like I have like a deeper voice and everything, but it's like very powerful when I like put that punch into it.
Mm.
So it's like every time that I rap, like I just feel my soul like completely ignite, and it's just like it's just a passion for it that I just can't even put in words. Like, I just completely come to life. It's always just felt right to me, and I've just always loved how hip hop at its core is about storytelling and, like themes of life and just community and everyone coming from different backgrounds and all that. Just the whole idea of like sharing your story, like the good, the bad, everything in between. Just hip hop is a very personal, I feel like, a very personal genre. It pulls the deepest things out of people that do it.
Mm.
So that's part of why I'd say like I gravitated towards hip hop especially. And I love singing too, but like I said, just with my voice and just my whole style and everything, it just always felt like hip hop was the greatest fit for that.
Oh yeah. So obviously, you've written 5 million. I'm sure probably a lot of songs. You just wrote so many. Um, with any
Yeah.
of the songs that you have made, was there any meanings behind them? Like, is there a specific one that you can pick out right now that you can tell us the meaning of?
Yeah, yeah. So honestly, I could name like every single one in that way just because like everything of mine that's just kind of always been like my personal philosophy, and like where I hold myself is that every song that I make, it comes from a very real place. Like even if it's a more fun like hype type song or whatever, just like I'll never speak about things that I don't actually do or that I'm not about. So really, literally every song has a message, but one that I'll specifically shout out that really personifies like who I am and what I'm about and where my direction is these days is a song that I made called Third Eye, which there's a music video out for that on YouTube as well. So Third Eye, like if you've heard of the chakra that's like up in our forehead, like in our temple right here,
Hmm.
the third eye is the part of us like our soul, our energy centers that is all about intuition and like deeper meaning of things and just like seeing through people's bullshit and everything, just really like being in tune to yourself and who you really are, and like seeing past all the deceit, all the lies, all the masking, just all the fake shit in this world. So when I wrote Third Eye, that's where it was coming from. That's what that song's message is all about, is that no matter what I've gone through, I'm still here and it's all paying off. And also, no one can tell me anything that I don't already know myself, and no one can bullshit me. Like, I see through everything because I'm very in tune to who I am as a person and the world around me. And I've done a lot of the work as well to get to this point. So, Third Eye is about trusting yourself, trusting in your dream, listening to your intuition, listening to that inner being inside you, like our soul, our spirit,
Hmm.
God. Like, so that's one that I would pick out there where it's got a really significant meaning to it. Just listening to yourself and just, tuning in your intuition, your third eye, just staying aware and not letting anybody bullshit you, not letting anybody, like fuck you over and everything. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Okay, I can't stop looking at your shirt, man. You have such a nice vibe, and I fucking love that shirt. I don't know why it is, but I love that shirt.
much love, man. Thank you. Yeah, see that's the whole idea. Like when I got this smile shirt, that was the whole thing. I was thinking what's something that people are going to look at me as like an artist and as a person and immediately feel like, okay, this guy's got like good vibes, like you can trust him, like he's real, again, like no bullshit. And apparently this shirt did its job. Like it's one of
Yeah,
my
for
favorites
sure.
Oh
too.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
do have
it's
a
like
question. I have like a question though. So,
yeah.
uh, which states have you performed at? Like out of all the places, and also, what is your favorite state that you've performed at?
Yeah, great question. So this is where my story is kind of unique, like in an interesting way. So when I was talking about D Ray, like back when I had really gotten like pretty famous and everything, and the way I did it was that I kept on posting videos on Facebook from like 2013 onwards, and you know, because of how big I got, it allowed me to perform like out of Maine. And so I performed in Boston, Massachusetts, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Plymouth, Massachusetts. I did some shows in Connecticut. I did some shows in New York. Did some shows in Rhode Island. Um, like it's been really like all New England stuff. But for what I've done so far, I would say my favorite place to perform was always in Boston. And I would definitely love to get back there like as soon as possible. It's like I'll just say real quick. So why I say like unique and kind of backwards is that with D Ray, like I was a popping artist and that was like everywhere, not just my state. Yet in Maine, though, in the Maine music scene, nobody really knew me. Like they knew of me, but no one actually knew me. And that was just because at that time it has to do with some of my beginnings. Like there was some people from my area that I just like, didn't want to be around and everything. They were part of like the bullying I've gone through, so it was like traumatic and stuff. It's hard for me to be around some people. So
Right.
that time I mostly kept myself away from the
Okay.
main music scene, not necessarily because I wanted to, but just how things were at the time while I was healing and stuff. But it worked out because D-Ray got far enough where I was able to perform out of the state. And all the times that I did perform out of the state, it has now given me all that experience where now when I step on stage anywhere, it's like, I just like I really know what I'm doing. And honestly, I can really pride myself on that. Like I'm a really fucking great performer. Like I've hosted some events, I'm very confident on the mic. I'm good at getting people like hyped up and into everything even if they're just like completely dead at the moment, like I'll prod them and everything. I'll make it happen. So yeah, I would say Boston is like one of my favorite places so far, and I'd give a close runner up to New York. The Bitter End is a legendary venue in New York City, and that was really amazing to perform there. And yeah,
So, since you just mentioned a lot about performing on stage, this is kind of like a two-part question. I mean, it's kind of the same question, I think. Basically, the first question's,
yeah.
how do you like calm your nerves before you go out on stage, and how do you have a routine before you go out?
I love talking about this stuff, especially for any other artists that are listening right now and they can get like some tips and everything. What I would say is that just to be completely honest, when it comes to performing, sometimes I feel even more comfortable on stage than I do like just out and about as a person. Like, oh, that might sound like kind of weird, but honestly, that's the case for me. So it's like I don't really get nervous. Like I get really excited and get like nerved up in that way, but it's never like, oh my God, like what am I gonna do? I'm about to go out there. Like, what if I mess up? What if people laugh at me? Blah blah blah. Just I don't really feel that. It's like when I first started everything years ago, I thought that I had stage fright, but it turned out that I actually just haven't performed yet. And the moment that I did perform, which was at Memorial Middle School, like the talent show in like sixth grade or something like that,
Hmm.
that's when I fell in love with the stage. And even though at that performance, like I mostly just stood there, like just doing my song, I still didn't feel like nervous or have like many mess ups or whatever. Like it just kind of felt natural for me. And then from there, it just kept leading to one thing after another. And then after that, like it immediately put me in like the biggest position I could be at the time. In seventh grade, there was this program called JMG. And through a friend of mine, they got me connected with this guy named Darius Weems, who was on like MTV's Pimp My Ride and stuff like that. He was a really great guy, huge inspiration. He had Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, which meant that he literally couldn't even move. He was
Hmm.
stuck in a wheelchair. Yet he fucking made it as a rapper, man, and he was touring the country.
No shit.
And I was honored enough to be able to be on one of those tour dates with him at Biddeford Middle School. And me and him and another guy I'm going to shout out, Duddy Ken, shout out to him. He's still going strong. He taught me a lot that I know still to this day. Man, we performed for over 2,000 people.
Wow.
And when I did that show, like since I was in the beginning days, I remember like still not fully nervous, but at that point, it was my first time in front of that many people. So that was when I was like, whoa, like I took some deep breaths, like I just spoke positively to myself. Like I listened to everybody around me, which at that point it was like Darius and Duddy and like his whole team. We were all backstage and I was just, like, oh, you guys, like, this is my first huge show like this, like, I'm excited, but what do you guys do before you go out there? And they were just telling me, just like trying to calm yourself, just speak positively about like yourself and what you're about to do. Just understand that like we're all human beings and we all make mistakes. So even if you do fuck up on stage, who cares? That's how you learn. You have to go through those moments to get to the point where I'm at now, where nothing on stage really scares you. Like it's all just exciting.
Hmm.
But yeah, like definitely feel like those nerves of like, oh man, I'm about to go out there, let's go, just a pure excitement. But the days of like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, do I even actually want to do this? I'm just so nerved up. I can't say I really ever felt that, but the moment that I just described was probably the closest that I was to it. And that's what I remember. And yeah, it's just that really just making sure that you breathe and just trying to compose yourself and just, just be nice to yourself. Like I said, even if you fuck up, it's okay. Like, that's how you learn. And to go even further, honestly, on that note, if you do fuck up, the worst thing that any artist can do is to make it clear that they fucked up. Because it's like the crowd feeds off your energy.
Hmm.
So if instead of like being all pent up and embarrassed or whatever, and instead you just laugh it off, or even just like, oh, huh, like I said that, I did that, like, whatever, just have fun with it. Just make it clear that like you're there, like you're on that stage, like it's your moment, and if you mess anything up, like it's okay. Everybody's done it, like don't beat yourself up for it. That's what's going to get you comfortable on stage if you don't automatically feel that way.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I would say to that.
So you've been on the road multiple times to go to different
I like this guy.
states, and what was the one of the craziest things that has ever happened to you on the road?
Well, I mean, one of the craziest moments for me was when I had uh, like a pure manifestation, like very clearly. I literally just said that this was going to happen like the night before, and then it did. The story that I'll share here was when I was in Boston, and after I just played my show, I was attending one of my favorite artists' concerts. His name's Jake Miller, and he was performing at the House of Blues in Boston. And so on the way up to Boston that day, like I had been telling my mom, like, oh, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm just telling you, like, I can feel it. I'm gonna meet Jake today. Like that was one of my main goals, like being at the show. Aside from being a fan, it's like I was trying to meet like one of my favorite people that I'd always align with in a lot of ways. And so it was just crazy because when I was waiting in line at the House of Blues, like a bunch of the fans there, they were like looking at me and everything. And like a lot of them like told me later on that night, they just kind of had a feeling there was like some aura or something about me. Like they thought I was different in a good way. So a lot of the people actually recognized me, like they recognized D-Ray. So it was just awesome to meet, those people I'd never met before and everything, but they already knew me. And then on top of that, the people that didn't know me, they were intrigued. So just from the moment that I was out there, like things were happening like that. And then when I went off to go to the bathroom, like near Fenway Park, I tried going into three different bathrooms and literally none of them let me in. I still can't even tell you why. It just, they didn't let me in. So then it all led up to the craziest moment when I went back to my spot on the brick wall, and then Jake's video director, Edgar Estevez, came out of the bus. And then he was like, yo, are you D Ray? And I was like, oh my, yeah, I'm D Ray, what's up? And then he was like, oh, well, man, like, come in the bus. You know, Jake said that he knows you, he wants to talk to you. So then I went in the bus with Jake, and then we talked for a while. And, you know, just like I said, what happened, like, I didn't have meet and greet, VIP, nothing. Like,
Hmm.
I had just performed, and then while I was out, we had gone to see Jake while we were in the area. And then, you know, like, I met one of my favorite artists then and there. So then, with everything being connected, the month before his show, he came up to Maine playing the Old Port Festival. And at that point in time, I didn't get to meet Jake, but again, that was my intention. At the Old Port Festival, I had a demo with me, and I had like my business cards and all that. And so even though I didn't meet Jake, I did meet some interns from Warner Brothers, which was his record label at the time. And so because of just putting myself out there and everything, like, I was able to give them my demo, and then they could have possibly given it to Jake. So then at this moment, like, it's just crazy. When I'm in the bus with them, I got to, of course, tell them about that directly
Hmm.
instead of like it coming from someone else. You know, I directly got to tell him, like, man, like, I was trying to give you my demo last month, and then, like, you know, now I actually could, and I did, and everything. And then after all that on the bus, later on that night, he pulled me up on stage. You know, like, it was just, it was like, it was such a surreal moment because I knew all of that would happen and it was meant to happen. But then when you actually see it, and I felt that in front of all those people, like on his stage, I was just blown the fuck away and just even more like, damn, this is definitely what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that was
Holy
a
crap.
pure, yeah,
That's
like, you
crazy.
think like law of
Wow.
attraction, manifesting, whatever, that's it right there. I've
Hmm.
seen it millions of times, but that was a literally like, what the fuck even is life
Yeah.
moment.
That was like
Because I
that kind of
said it would
proved you wrong.
happen.
That's what I'd say. That proved you wrong right there. You came in with a mindset and then it just happened. It's pretty crazy. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So out of the many, I would definitely give the edge to that one because that was just like, damn, man,
That
like,
is,
this is real.
yeah, that was pretty
It
crazy.
was meant to be, and
Wow. Wow. So,
yeah, just like my point there, like, before going to the next thing, just manifesting is real. We're creators. If you've ever heard that we create our own reality, it's true. Like, we come from God, and God being the creator, that means that we are God-like in that sense. We have that creation. Like, that's our power. That's a secret of life. So when you say something is going to happen and you assume that, like, in my case, it was, I'm an artist, you know, I'm blowing up. Like, I have a great fan base. Like, when you say those things and put real intention and real power, real belief into it, it will become a reality.
mhm.
Everybody that is living their dream knows this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So just, believe in yourself and speak on what you want, not what you don't want. Even I've made that mistake many times, especially when it comes to like self sabotage and stuff, but that's a whole different thing in itself.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know, the world is magical, we're magical, and things like that, they do happen. I've lived it.
Oh, yeah. So we do have like four more questions left, but three of them are for like more towards the end questions. I did put this one down because I kind of want to talk a little bit about it when you said it. Your spirituality. I do want to get a little bit into that only because of I wouldn't say I grew up around it, but like I know a little bit about like the chakras, like Reiki and like the runes and all that stuff. Like what got you into like the spiritual part of that stuff?
Yeah, man. Yeah, again, I love talking about this stuff too. So it's like, honestly, for me, I feel like all my life I always knew that there was a God. I always knew that we're more powerful than the Matrix, like, of this world tries to box us in and tell us, like, we're limited and we have to follow the rules and just, like, not listen to ourselves. Like, it's all bullshit. Just, I always knew that life was way more than it seemed on the surface. And I've always been connected to my intuition, like even before I knew exactly what it was. I've just always been good at, like feeling people out and knowing like when something is true or not, or just like, you know, being in tune to like what I want and who I am. Like I've always been a spiritual person in that way. But through my experience with music and specifically like being exactly where I always wanted to be. Like I said, I worked super hard for so many years. Like, D-Ray is really popping and everything, and then life just happened and I ended up in the hospital, and like my ex at the time had like stolen my music equipment and just all these things, like anything you can think of, it happened at that time. And like I was down and out, just completely like in a dark space. Like I lost myself, I lost my fan base, I lost like my touring opportunity, just I lost literally everything. And so I went into what is called the dark night of the soul,
Mm.
which I didn't recognize it at that time, but years later I did, after doing some research and everything, found out like what happened to me was I had a spiritual awakening through that trauma.
Mm.
Like I had already gone through trauma in my life, but it wasn't until I lost everything I worked so hard for and was sure that I was just going to stay there from then on. It wasn't until that fucking devastation of losing like the music career and everything that I just completely like felt, what even is this? Like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Like, and then I like internalized everything and felt like I fucked things up. And, I was super worried about what people were thinking of me. And then I developed this weird OCD about like not just trying to please everybody, but trying to keep everybody.
Mm.
Like if that makes sense at all. It's like I would get so stressed about unfollowers and people just not fucking with me anymore. And instead of just trusting in the bigger picture and that some people just aren't meant to get you anyway, and everything changes too, like you gotta be open to more than what your like mind, when it limits itself, can see. And so I was feeling like, well, shit, I had my chance and I blew it. But then fast forward to now, what I recognize is not only did I not fuck up or mess up anything, but it happened the way that it was supposed to.
Mm.
Like I got a taste of everything I always wanted, yes, but more importantly than that, I came back to now tell the tale of not only that, but I'm doing it all over again right now. So it taught me a lot, suffice to say. But the main highlight when it comes to the bullying and stuff like that, like we'll put it this way, I swore that I would never step foot in the school ever again in my life because it was just that traumatic for me. And I just couldn't even fathom the thought of even being in there. So then come 2023, God had different plans, and I had met some people that like are part of a school board of like Kennybunk Middle School and everything. One thing leads to another, and then in March 2023, a little over 2 years ago now, I did three headline shows in a row at this school, all in the same day for the sixth graders, the seventh graders, and the eighth graders. And that was one of the best days of my life, like straight up. Not only did I get over that fear of being in a school again, but on top of that, just like the shows were incredible and the kids just absolutely loved me. Like honestly, I've had some crazy moments in public and stuff over the years, but that day I literally felt like Justin Bieber. Like they were throwing shirts like, in my face to sign. They had shoes, they had like pictures of me, like they had my, song covers and stuff. Just it was insane. Like they had all sworn me and my mom, they were all just screaming and like, "Oh, Damien Raye," and just it just made me remember, like, man, this is what it's always been about, like you make people happy, like you're spreading light, you're being who you are, like, and it just naturally comes to you because, like I'm a genuinely good person with great intentions and I work really hard, like
Hmm.
it's never just been about me. I've always been a guy that, wants to use fame for good, like giving to charities and, performing at these like big community events and do more cool stuff and, just be a light in the world and using that fame to reach that many people as possible to do all of that and make the world a better place. That's always what I've been about. So that all of that together, the losses, the synchronicities, the seeing everything that I ever worried about wasn't even anything to worry about because God still got me, just like all of that brought me even deeper into the spirituality and everything. And when I really went deep into like finding out like what the soul is and like karma and like reincarnation and just all of these things, man, like I went deep down the rabbit hole after all that. I needed some fucking answers and I did get them. And funny enough, I even met like other spiritual people. Like, I met a medium, like I work with some shamans. Like, this is even deeper than just music, man. Like, after that trauma and shit, it brought me even deeper into like the bigger, like, aspects of life and everything in terms of like who we are and why things happen the way they do and what it's all about. Why are we here in the first place?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
ironically, my trauma all came from music, yet at the same time, all the best moments in my life also came from music. So it's like a good example of the light and the dark,
Hmm.
just the yin yang of everything. So that's what got me deep into spirituality was like my own experiences
Mm.
and just needing answers when I felt like I lost it all.
Wow. Wow, that's a good story right there.
Definitely.
You got a question, Colby?
So I had a question, but it rolled off the tongue. But so man, if you want to ask your question first, then we'll come back. I'm trying to be here, but I'm listening.
Yeah, I'll ask this question and hopefully your question comes back.
Yeah, for real. I'm pressed because it was a good one.
Um, so yeah, so just to turn everything back into like the music career, what would you change about the industry if there was anything that you didn't like about it? What would you change it? Like what would you change?
Oh man, that's an easy one. Straight up, just honestly, this this industry, you know, it can be very dark and very like soulless feeling and just like very fake. There's a lot of fucking like snake like people, a lot of people like trying to take advantage of you, people you think are your friend and they'll just stab you in the back, like just people not really looking out for you the way that they said that they would. Just there's just a lot of fake shit and a lot of like, music really tends to bring the darkest aspects out of people when it comes to like competition and opportunities and people get caught up in the ego shit rather than recognizing abundance and that like my shine doesn't take away from yours and vice versa. Like there's room for all of us and
Mm.
God intended it that way. It was us humans that fucked up the balance there and started thinking like, oh, like I'm the only one and no one can be up here with me. And, like I own everything and this is my shit, my money, just the whole ego thing, just people looking out for themselves, people being fucking selfish, being greedy. Like that's the shit that I would change about the music industry is just how certain people carry themselves and the energy that this industry tends to like really be surrounded in, which is like, darkness and greed and ego and people just not really giving a shit. Like everything is, oh, it's just business, bro. It's nothing personal. Like just things like that.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I would change that
Need more
100%.
love.
Yeah, we do. I would definitely change that 100%, especially with some of the stuff that I've already have experienced with, obviously, Tyler. Another segment for Tyler again. Shout out to him. Um,
Every single one.
I know
Yeah,
almost
just love that kid.
every single episode that we've done, we've always gave Tyler like a nice shout out because I can't thank
Reckon
Tyler enough
so.
for everything. I like he's done so much for me, so much for this podcast. Like I can't thank
Yeah,
him enough.
man.
Like
Thanks for me.
and it sucks
Absolutely. Shout out to Tyler.
like every time, man. Like he just gets shit on for it, and I hate seeing it. I really do. Like
We met some pretty good people, including the one in here from
yeah,
Tyler.
yeah. Met some good
Like,
people.
hell
Some
yeah,
people have
man.
coming
Thank you.
back, and it's great.
No, you're a good man, dude. You're a good man, dude.
Thank you.
So I
Thank
think I
you.
have two now. So
Perfect.
if there was something you said you needed to say to your fans, what would you say it? And then the second one is why does it keep happening to me?
All good.
No, the second one would be here it is. The second one would be if anyone was trying to make music, how would you help them?
Yeah.
Like how would you get them
So,
started?
yeah. So, with the first one, when it comes to what I would say to my fans, it's just like I've been saying for years and will continue to say is first off to all the sun rays out there, like, thank you so much for sticking with me. Like, the people that are still with me, we're talking like they've been with me almost like, you know, like 12 or more years now. Like, very dedicated, very loyal. The ones that are still there and never left, like, they really love me for me. Like they didn't look at anything like, oh, like Damien just doesn't care anymore. He like, is slacking or fell off or something. It's like they knew I was going through some real shit and they knew like who I really am, like underneath all the pain is this guy, like I'm an artist and I'm somebody that was meant to be like everywhere, like for all good things. And so it's just, I would say, really, like, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for the patience. And just know that your patience is definitely paying off because now that I've really figured myself out, even to the point of like not self-sabotaging anymore. Like I'll touch on that real quick because it's so relevant. So put it this way. When you go from someone that was already like really pretty famous to somebody that is kind of like starting over again and people treat you differently at times because of that and they just kind of get like like people can be really rude about stuff like that like oh you were this big and now look at you ha ha like I think it's a joke so all of that stuff well it triggers me like it brings me back to those same feelings those same days of being bullied all the time left out feeling ignored and so I got stuck in that. I got stuck in those patterns and that way of thinking. And it wasn't intentional, of course, but I was really struggling doing certain things I need to do with an artist, like, especially when it comes to social media and everything. I was struggling with like posting as much as I used to, just struggling with like just staying like in good spirit and everything, like having to be on these platforms constantly and appeasing the almighty algorithm and shit. So it's like that was a challenge for me where I'm so used to getting like a lot of engagement and everything. And then when I would post something and it just wouldn't be like even close to what it was as D Ray, it would make me feel like that same stuff. Like I said, just being ignored and just like some of the really dark times in my life. So I had to, up to this point, I had to like rewire my mind, rewire my thoughts, rewire my energy, where I was identifying more as like the traumatized kid after losing all of that. And then it felt like such a struggle more than I identified as like in the beginning, like I'm the artist, I'm the star, I'm him, like I got this, like it doesn't matter what's happening outside me, like this is who I am, this is the energy I put out. So I had to change that around again. And until I did that, I was self sabotaging. Again, not intentionally, but it's like part of me wanted to do what I was doing all over again and be like big and all that. But then there was also a part of me that was kind of scared, like scared to lose it again. Kind of like not scared to put myself out there because I'm very comfortable with that, but it all just came from a place of like trying to protect myself, like I didn't want to feel what I felt when that happened all over again. Like I just didn't want to be in that position anymore where it feels like I need to prove myself and just fucking like people treating me like shit just because of being in a certain place or whatever, just things like that. So yeah, my point overall is that now that I'm even out of my own way, there's absolutely no going back. And I'm not only better than ever before, but we're also going to be bigger than ever before as well. And this time it's not going to be a get there and then something happens and then we're done. It's like we're just going to keep on going. Like nothing will ever stop me ever again. And it's all up from here. So the fans, thank you for sticking with me, and the patience all is paying off. And, you know, I, I love every single person that has ever been part of this journey with me, whether they were a fan this whole time or they just found me or they were a fan and then they lost me when I was going through my stuff. Like, anybody who's ever heard me in this world, just I appreciate you all so much, and I hope that you really take something out of the stuff that I said and appreciate like the vulnerability and everything, because I really just want to see people succeed. And that also goes into my next point about like where artists would start, like if they're just starting to make music. Before even the music part of things, I want to say have your mental health and everything right, like as much as you can. Like if you're going to be an artist and everything, like really prioritize yourself and the way that you think and everything like that. Because when you start building a fan base, when you really start like getting known, like getting fame or whatever, everything that's already going on within you is amplified when you're in the spotlight, whether for good or for bad. So I would just really touch on that first. I feel like that's just as important as making the music, is have the right mindset. Understand that not everyone's going to accept you, not everyone's going to care what you're doing. Just like people are going to be mean sometimes, but they're mostly just projecting themselves onto you. It doesn't mean anything about you or who you are. Like just keep following your heart and do what you do best. And then with the music itself, just like how I started, I would recommend really just learning as much as you can, like on your own. Because not only will it give you a confidence boost that you really need in the beginning when you don't know anybody yet, no one knows you yet, like you're really just starting out, knowing how to write a song by yourself, knowing how to record a song by yourself, teaching yourself like how to perform, like watching artist videos and studying like what do they do with their hands, like, you know, where do they pause like to speak to the crowd, like how long do they speak before transitioning to the next song, just things like that. Like just teach yourself as much as you possibly can from all areas of music, And then when you do meet those people that are already in the industry, like producers, artists with a buzz, whatever, like you'll be ready then and you'll feel confident to handle that when it comes your way. Because also, luck is just preparation meeting opportunity. It's not just this mystical thing of like, oh, some people are more lucky than others. No, you may have different circumstances that are better or worse than others. I'll give you that. But the luck itself is a self made thing. You prepare yourself, and then when life hits you with things that you asked for, if you're ready for it, then you're lucky in that moment. So, yeah, really just like try to, keep yourself right, like take care of your health and your mind and everything. Just love what you do, research, reach out to people, don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah, just like apply yourself to music as much as you possibly can and keep the right mindset.
I'd say that would be.
That is that was great because Matt, I know I asked. I
Thank you.
always like ever since we've been like interviewing the artist, I've always asked that question, and I've gotten a different
Yeah,
answer every time. And people ask me, why do I ask the same question almost every time? It's because it's a different person. They give different answers. So I like to
yeah,
hear what it is because you just gave a different answer out of everyone. So I like to hear it. You know what I mean?
absolutely. I love that that's the case too, because I just, like, I love being different, just like being like in my own lane or whatever. Just like, I try to keep things as unique as I possibly can. And like, there's already so many people in this world. Like, being ourselves is the only person that we really should be. Like, there's billion everything else. Like, why do we want to be the same?
Right.
Right. No, exactly. And yeah, no, 100% I get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. And yeah, again, just always with that honesty. Like, I feel like those things need to be touched on. Like, artists need to speak about mental health just as much as they're speaking about the creation itself. Because it's completely relevant, Like, you got to have a really strong, really fucking thick skin to be in this industry. It's filled with rejection, filled with shitty people. Like, obviously, there's good people too, but we're just being real on the part of like, you know, it's going to test you. Like, no matter who you are, you're going to be tested. And that's where loving the music really gets you through all the rest of the bullshit.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just basically about at the end of this podcast. So literally the last question is, what's next for you in the future?
Yeah, so first off, I have a brand new single that is coming out on June 13th called Slow It Down. And that song goes even further into what I talked about a little bit during this podcast with like self sabotaging and everything. So, Slow It Down is a really important and really like deep and powerful song of mine. Probably one of my favorites that I've ever done because in this song, I'm finally letting go of everything that was and I'm stepping back into that like, nah, like I have it. This is who I am. This is always what it's been. Like I went through some shit, but I'm never going to slow it down. Like, my grind and everything, just like my ambition, my drive, like my mission to help as many people as I can and to just share like the gems and everything, like speak the spirituality, speak the mental health, everything, no filter. Just slow it down is me recapturing that whole like this is who I am and I don't identify as a traumatized kid, like fuck all that shit. I'm a star, like plain and simple. And I don't ever plan on slowing it down. Like it's it's the time now where everyone is gonna know me again.
Hmm.
And I'm out of my own way. So That song will be releasing on June 13th. There's a pre-save link in my bio on Instagram for that. And also on May 31st, like just as of today, I was just on a business call. On May 31st, I'll be shooting the music video for that. And this time I'm going to be doing it with a director. And we're really going to like try and make something more out of this other than the performance itself. So, yeah, so Slow It Down, really excited for that. And then, just like I'm always like looking to, book more shows and everything like that. Like I really just want to keep on ascending up the ladder. Like I've done a lot of music festivals in the last few years. I play a lot of shows like at Flash Lounge. I did a lot at Free Street as well. I think what's next for me is that I want to do another show like I did years ago, but it's been a while. I want to get on a show where I'm opening for like a bigger artist because that's what I really like, need to do is be in front, like having that kind of crowd to work with, like more consistently. I really want to start doing those shows way more often and just keep going from there.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure we're all excited to see what your journey is going to be like from now on. Um, Obviously,
Thank you.
you've probably have already mentioned where you're at, but what do you got for social media so people can find you at?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, TikTok, pretty much like everywhere, it's at I'm Damien Ray. It's IMDAMIENRAYE, all no spaces. You can also follow at I'm Damien Ray on Snapchat if you'd like. I haven't really used it in a while, but I think like that's gonna change soon. Is I'm just gonna use it as like another music platform and everything. So yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, it's all at I'm Damien Ray. And then to find me on all the music platforms, you know, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that, it's Damien Ray. DAMIENRAYE. That's my artist name, and that's where you can find me everywhere. And then also, if you use Facebook, you know, Facebook's always been special to me, like I said, because it's where I got my start. I went a unique way, like a lot of people were pushing YouTube and stuff, and I still used it, but like I really pushed my Facebook. Like, as an example, my original Facebook, which is the same name as it is now, but it was just a different Facebook. My Damien Ray Alexander original Facebook still has all like 300 plus videos on it from my whole journey. Like if anyone was like a super fan type and wanted to like research and go all the way back, like it's literally all there. You can see it all. And then like my new Facebook, you know, feel free to add Damien Ray Alexander. And for you to know which one it is, the new one, which is the one I currently use and will forever use, is a picture with me with my Nike headband on and I'm performing. So, like I have a mic and everything. It's a cool picture taken from the last show that I did like a week ago. So, yeah, add me on Facebook too if you'd like.
Sweet. Well, I'll definitely get the links from you so I can put them in the bio so people can just go ahead and click on links so they don't have to keep messing around with your name or whatever. But we'll get the links in the description for you. Get your
Yeah.
stuff promoted. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah,
Appreciate
Damien, I appreciate you coming on the pod, taking the time out of your day to do this. This is like I think this is probably one of the best, probably one of the best pods I've probably have done. It good vibe,
For sure.
love it,
For sure.
Oh yeah, man.
love it,
Glad to
really
hear
love it.
that.
Oh yeah, I love
And
it.
it was it was a pleasure, like thank you guys for having me. Like it's always one of my favorite things to do, like interview, podcast type stuff cuz just truly have like a lot to share and I genuinely want people to hear it and like take inspiration from it and everything, like use it as a blueprint, whatever. Just I love this shit. So it was fun being here.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to have you on again for sure. I'd love to see
If you're
Would
down.
love
later
to.
down the road what you've done and what you have accomplished down the road, and we'll get into that stuff and probably a little bit of more other stuff down the road as well.
You,
But yeah,
man, we
Yeah,
should keep in touch.
oh yeah,
Definitely for
definitely.
sure.
Definitely keep in touch. You know, you guys also like we can follow each other like on IG. You guys got like your own Instagram aside from the podcast. And also, you know, like I was asking Tyler's, I was really curious, like whenever you guys do get like a live version of the podcast going, we'll definitely be doing that as well.
sweet.
I'm down to link up.
Oh yeah, I'm down to do that as well. Yeah, so once again, Damien, I appreciate you coming on this pod. Love to have you again. Um,
I'd love to come back. Oh yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, so this is gonna conclude this podcast episode. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this pod. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. You can listen to us on Google, Apple, Spotify, all the platforms you can think of. We're most likely on them. So I want to thank you guys so much for listening and watching this, and we'll see you guys in our next episode.
These days, nothing fazed me at all, man. Like, I already been through the worst. I'm unstoppable now. Unstoppable. And I can see through the bullshit. Yeah. Even when you think I don't, I always know. Protect your energy. All your bullshit, I see it with my third eye. I done got through really all the worst times. And when I rhyme, y'all can feel the divine. I can feel it, I'ma be it, now it's my time. All your bullshit, I see it with my third eye. I done got through really all the worst times. And when I rhyme, y'all can feel the divine. I can feel it, I'ma be it, now it's my time. Tired of your lies, so don't ask me shit. Ain't feeling your vibes, so get out of here quick. I've been through patterns of abuse. There is no excuse when I'm in a booth, I'm about to raise a roof. The forbidden fruit, bit off more than you can chew. Hating ass fools say it, set you free on the truth. Saying one thing, then it turned into another. It's clear that you never were a brother. Nope. I can feel your vibes out. Don't slip past me no more, no corner, you in timeout. And this is my route, y'all already know. Only a matter of time before a limelight road. Say hello to me. I've been in the words as God invented ABCs. I'm best known as D-R-A-Y-E. Damien Raye, shining rays more than Sunny D. All your bullshit, I see it with my third eye. I done got through really all the worst times. And when I rhyme, y'all can feel the divine. I can feel it, I'ma be it, now it's my time. All your bullshit, I see it with my third eye. I done got through really all the worst times. And when I rhyme, y'all can feel the divine. I can feel it, I'ma be it, now it's my time. And that's my nickname. My rhymes cut sharp more than a switchblade. Learning from my words, I'm the sensei. And now I just start to get paid. Woo! Shout to D-Ray, and when I was young, D-Man. These days I've been feeling like He-Man. They said all these reasons why I can't. I don't need your validation or a reason. The world fake, but through it all I got more strength. I don't ever really fuck with snakes. Y'all can slither around, but your venom is something I'm never gonna taste. Everybody, they done made me who I am. All the people giving me shit, saying I suck again. And just proving myself and feeling so stuck. Working hard every day, yet they call it luck. Yeah, 10 years in the making. Here's a secret, success comes to those who are patient. Never give it up, keep chasing. One of these opportunities I'll blow up and y'all will know Damien. Damien Raye.